What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Battlefield 6 may not have a story campaign, a campaign mode. So this is something that I'll be flat honest with you guys. I never once thought about. I just kind of always assumed that it was assumed that there would be, a story to it. And I think the odds are still kind of high. We'll go over why some people are doubting it, okay? I'm not going to blame you if you believe the rumor that it won't have one. I'm also not going to blame you if you believe that, no, obviously it's going to have, a campaign. But I do think there's a little possibility that it may not, but we'll have to see. So let's read over this. This comes from Game Rant. There's a lot of excitement and anticipation around the latest Battlefield game, which is set to be revealed in June. It's been a staple in the shooter, yada, yada, yada. However, fans of the series who prioritize and enjoy campaign may find themselves disappointed after a new report from a dedicated Battlefield 6 leaker, Tom Henderson, who we've talked about many, many times before, reported that the campaign for Battlefield 6 might be excluded. It's critical to remember that after the global stuff could result in hurried development for Battlefield 6, which could very well explain the alleged absence of a campaign mode. Now, here's the most important part. Henderson pointed out that it's odd for EA to not have mentioned a campaign in its latest earnings call where it spoke about multiple aspects for the upcoming game. And then he said, I had to look back at the past EA earnings calls, but this was the first earnings call where EA has not mentioned a campaign coming to this year's Battlefield, Henderson stated. Despite the lack of news, he also stated, as I've mentioned for the past couple months, I've yet to hear anything of a campaign. It doesn't mean there isn't one, but it's very, very unusual to not hear of one in an info dump. It's important to remember that doesn't come as confirmation, as it's only speculation for now. Besides, it could be that EA is waiting for the reveal to showcase its story trailer and generate as much hype in advertising for Battlefield 6. So that's what the article said. Now, look, I've covered Tom Henderson. I think it's important to talk about him because he really steers the ship with a lot of specifically Battlefield rumors. I've talked about him a lot. I have nothing against the guy. I've never talked to him, person to person. I've never written to him, anything like that. But he seems good. He seems, I guess, generally accurate. Now, I have seen stuff where it's kind of like the cracks in the armor, where some people are kind of calling him out, saying like, because he talks about Battlefield, but he also talks about Call of Duty, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of problems with what he, and other leakers that have had problems with what he said about Call of Duty. Kind of the first time I've seen people really take shots at him, but it's very possible that he is that he could just be making stuff up. I honestly don't know. I don't really know where to fall on the guy because I've never met him myself. I'd love to talk to him one day, but I have always been inclined to believe him. So I don't like. I agree with kind of both. Like, it is unusual if that's true. So I will say this. I believe his research, okay? I believe that he did go back in the EA earnings call and he was like, yeah, this is the first time they haven't said anything about the campaign. I do think that's important to note, and I do think that could lead, or that could, be a result of a problem there in the fact that maybe there isn't one, okay? But then, at the same time, yeah, the article could very well be right. It could just be, well, maybe they felt that this was a change, that they wanted to keep it. It's not like the past couple Battlefield games have been the greatest success stories in the world. They haven't. They haven't sold as well as EA would have liked, which was kind of a stupid thing. But the more important thing is they just haven't been nearly as good, or good at all, depending on where you stand, as the Battlefields before. I'd say the last two Battlefields definitely have gone in the wrong direction, and I, much like I think a lot of Battlefield fans, want the series to turn around. Okay. The other thing that isn't mentioned, or maybe it's mentioned in the article, but Tom, Henderson didn't say it, but I'll just throw it in there. Well, yes, because they mentioned the stuff going on around the world. Okay. What we've heard about a game like Call of Duty that's very worrisome, right, is that there could be a lot of issues. It may not have a multiplayer mode at all. It could just be a story, and then they could try to re-release multiplayer of past Call of Duty games to kind of fill the void. Okay, we've heard that. We know pretty much as a fact that even if that's not true, okay, if they're not in that close of damage control, they are in, like, red alert because they have seemingly every Activision studio working on Call of Duty in some respect. And I will tell you, flat out, that's just not a good thing. There's just no way that's a good thing. That signals to me like they're worried. That signals to me they don't have as much help as they want. And it also speaks to me that they're rushing. Rushing is the biggest thing. Now, that's Call of Duty, but I do want to throw in there, I think, honestly, Battlefield has somewhat, not all, and this is just my opinion, so, take it with a grain of salt, or, you don't have to believe me, or you don't have to go off my opinion, but I do think Battlefield probably has similar issues as well, because one thing that I believe EA themselves said is, like, there are more studios than ever before working on this game. They have, like, the whole group working on it. Now, they're not pulling in the NHL team. They're not pulling in the Madden team, right, to work on. Like, they're separate, but they have a lot of teams also that maybe wouldn't always work on Battlefield games working on it. And they've kind of admitted that this is like the biggest group of individuals and the biggest group of studios working on Battlefield that they've ever had. Now, they kind of say it like they're gloating, like, oh my God, look at all the manpower we have. And they say, it's actually doing so well, it could be done before we even expected it to. They've said that. I think back in like January, February, March, the word on the street was like, yeah, it's making such insane progress that, like, or actually, no, they said that out loud in like some sort of release. They're like, things are going really well, and they're like ahead of the curve that they thought. So like they're kind of gloating about it, but it does. I would still say, like, it doesn't seem as much of an issue as it is with Call of Duty, but just again for the simple fact that you have more studios and more people ever working on the game, I don't think you do that unless there is a problem. You know what I mean? Why enlist double, triple, quadruple, and I'm not sure the actual number, but why enlist that much more people into your project if you don't need them? If the game's fine as it was, you would have made the November release date anyway, just throwing it out there as a possible, you know what I mean? Like, why would you do it? So to me, it's like, no, they brought in double, triple the group because they want it this fall. It will be this fall, no matter what happens. It will be this fall, but it's not ready yet, so they need more people. So like that kind of, and I know that's a very long story, and I went into Call of Duty and all that stuff, but I do think it's important because like that's kind of an outside thing that I would like to throw in there. Do they sacrifice almost the story as, hey, the multiplayer is always more important? And I mean, and I love the story, like, I don't love the Battlefield stories. Normally, they're pretty bad, but I like the fact that they're in there, and I do play them, and I want to play them, even if they're not, like, the Bad Company games are good, but besides that, for the most part, even the best Battlefield games, like, multiplayer-wise, never really had good stories whatsoever, or stories that I cared about, or even remotely, okay? So, I guess it wouldn't be I wouldn't cry if it didn't happen, okay? I would be disappointed, but it wouldn't like break my heart. And it could very well. So I don't know. I like assumed that it was going to happen, that there'd be some sort of story element to the game. But honestly, now I'm not sure. I do more or less believe Tom, like for most of the stuff that he says. And again, just some of that background stuff, especially kind of all hands on deck kind of mentality that it seems like EA and Activision have had for their games. Yeah, it could very well result in, well, we have to sacrifice this, we have to sacrifice that. And in their cases, it's sacrificing an entire mode of the game, okay? So let me know, guys, in the comments below. I mean, again, all this stuff, just my opinion. Some of the stuff is Tom, Henderson's opinion / what he says that he knows. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. I do a brand new video every single day on this channel, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.